Robyn. I'm a librarian assistant here at Ames Public Library.
And I'm Seth. I work here at the library too.
And we're here to give you some recommendations for our second annual 12 to Try reading challenge. For the month of May, the challenge is a book from a young adult or juvenile collection by an Asian American, or a Pacific Islander author. Stay tuned for our suggestions, or come to the library and check out all of the cubes and everything we've got promoting the challenge.
I'm going to start off recommending just Dragon Pearl. It's a book for older middle grade readers, or people who are older middle grade at heart, by a great author named Yoon. He's a Korean American author of mostly science fiction, and mostly the kind of science fiction people call space opera. In case you haven't heard that term before, it means the good kind of sci-fi that sacrifices any pretense of realism in favor of a whole lot of cool stuff. And this book is no exception. Min, the main character, is a fox spirit from kind of a backwater planet. She's a person who lives in human form but has certain special fox powers like shape-shifting. Regular folks distrust fox spirits, so her whole family just has to pretend to be human. But one day, a government official turns up at her house saying that her older brother is missing and is suspected of being a traitor. Min, who looks up to her brother, says, "Well, I don't believe that." And despite being only 13, she runs away from home, runs away from her entire planet to the other end of the galaxy, hops on a spaceship, and chases rumors of her brother all over the place, trying to find the truth. Min's fox powers let her do things like impersonating other people, which kind of keep her adventure going. And she can also convince others to help, but usually they end up just getting her into bigger trouble. She kind of jumps out of the frying pan and then into the fire and then into this other really even hotter fire, and just keeps going down the road, and it's really fun. Since this book is based on Korean folktale, the reader gets to explore a sci-fi world that's just a little bit different than one you probably are used to. Besides foxes, there are goblins, tigers, dragons, and other spirits running around. And instead of connecting wires and flipping switches on spaceships, the engineers are repairing the ships by tweaking flows of energy. It's pretty neat. This is a great choice if you or your kid really liked Rey from the most recent Star Wars trilogy. Feels a lot like that. What do you have?
A really good version of Star Wars, I was going to say.
Yes.
Well, my first pick is Breath of the Dragon by Shannon and Fonda. A young warrior dreams of proving his worth in the Elite Guardian tournament, fighting not only for himself, but for all of those that he loves. So this is the first book in a sweeping YA duology. I love a series, but I also love a duology because you get 1, 2, done. And it's based on characters and teachings by Bruce Lee. It's brought to life by his daughter Shannon, who's one of the writers, in a collaboration with Fonda, which is probably best known to most people from the Green Bone Saga, and is basically a dream for fantasy readers who want to dive into a Chinese-inspired world. Because it comes from the mind of Bruce Lee, there is some epic martial arts scenes all across the journey. But overall, the story focuses on familial and platonic relationships and very strong themes of honor, honesty, and community. And this just came out in January, so pick it up, check it out at the library here, and then look forward to the second one, just like I have.
Sounds good to me. For my second pick, I dove into the graphic novel section and picked up a book by Marjorie. She's a great writer of both novels and especially graphic novels, and she has works for people of all ages. She wrote, for example, for X-Men and Star Wars, kind of in the Marvel universe, and has an award-winning adult series called Monstrous. For the younger audience, here is Wingbearer. Wingbearer stars a girl named Zuli who doesn't know why, but she grows up as the only human who is raised by birds in this giant magical tree place. It turns out this tree is part of a magic realm that is where the spirits of birds go when they die in the real world. The spirits live in the tree for a while, then they're reborn in the real world. Then bird spirits stop finding their way back to the tree, and Zuli rushes off on a quest with her owl friend Frowley, which, by the way, obviously you want an owl friend, and obviously you would name it Frowley if you had one. Obviously. Yeah. And she tries to get to the bottom of this mystery. It's a great adventure. There's goblins and griffins and dragons, other fantasy cool stuff. And then it turns out that maybe the mystery of what's happening to these birds and their bird spirits might be bound up in the mystery of where Zuli herself came from. This is an epic fantasy adventure that I really liked. I think you'll like it too, especially if you're a fan of graphic novels like the Amulet series, or if you read books like the Wings of Fire series. Give Wingbearer a try.
That sounds awesome. All right, Seth. For my second pick, which is Rest in Peaches by Alex Brown, I've got 3 words for you. Murder, mayhem, mascots.
Mascots.
Yeah. So it starts with Quinn Marciello, who is like seemingly an ordinary high school girl, but secretly lives her best extroverted life as the person who embodies the school's beloved mascot, Peaches the parrot. However, things never go right, otherwise you wouldn't have a book, right? So during an elaborate prank on homecoming weekend, she gets exposed as Peaches the parrot. And what's a teenager to do after a moment like that? Completely seek revenge on anybody and everybody who could have possibly been involved, right?
Of course.
Right, yeah. Logical. However, determined to uncover the culprit, Quinn publicly unravels the lives of her classmates until a real killer starts going after all the people implicated in Quinn's conspiracy-fueled investigation. So it's this awesome mystery. The entire time you're trying to figure out who did what, who's responsible for everything else. But you're also getting those themes and those explorations of self-discovery and identity. And, you know, it's been a minute for us, but remembering those dynamics and social expectations of high school and how rough it was to have to go through those. It's a really engaging story. Completely highly recommend for anybody who loved like those 90s slasher movies, or I Know What You Did Last Summer, and anyone who has ever watched a teen drama on the WB. Loved every minute of it.
Thanks for listening to our suggestions. Drop by the library anytime in May. Go downstairs to the youth department and look for these or other great books in the J or YA collection by Asian American, or Pacific Islander authors. Happy reading.